Great afternoon, great afternoon. Happy Winning Wednesday. Happy Wealthy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Legacy Lab, 60 minutes to Black financial freedom. I am your host, Stephanie Miller Henderson, and I come to you every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time with a focus on wealth and legacy in the Black community. I am super excited to be here on Intellectual Radio. You can listen on intellectualradio.com. You can go ahead and subscribe to Intellectual Radio's YouTube channel, where you can also listen and view. And while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Stephanie Miller Henderson, where you can find not only information about the Legacy Lab and previous episodes, but you can also find other content about wealth and legacy, building a legacy in the Black community. This podcast is titled The Legacy Lab, 60 Minutes of Black Financial Freedom. The primary focus is wealth and legacy and ways that we can obtain both in the Black community, not just in the city of Chicago, but across the country, right? And across the globe. It's not enough to just simply say, I want to live financially free. I want to live a financially free life. We actually have to get in position and be able to begin to take the daily steps to accomplish whatever that might look like for us. And so that's what this show does. And let me add this. If you want to turn your spare time into global income, if you are looking to earn additional income streams, why wait? Your legacy definitely won't wait. Tomorrow is not promised. And I like to say, God didn't create us to just work and pay bills. We can build a business from anywhere. You can earn 8 different ways, and you can get paid up to 10 times a month. So if you are looking for an opportunity to walk in your purpose and walk in overflow, you can definitely call or text me if you are interested in getting more information regarding my wealth building business, my legacy business. You can give me a call or send me a text at 708-658-4735. Again, that number is 708-658-4735. Or you can email me at kslovestorytravel@gmail.com. Again, that email address is kslovestorytravel@gmail.com. Now, it is June. We are wrapping up the month of June, and it is Men's Health Month. And we have the same focus pretty much as last month, the month of May, which was Mental Health Awareness Month. And during that month and this month, we focused on the intersectionality of money and mental health. But I always try to make sure I give people an opportunity to come and share, what they're up to, what they're doing as it relates to business, as it relates to really meaningful and purposeful organizations and initiatives. And so today I am super excited. I have someone super special, very special, with me here in the studio to help me close out the month of May. This gentleman has served as a security officer, lead security officer, teacher, assistant, special education classroom assistant with Chicago Public Schools for over 2 decades. He has worked for quite some time, even in school districts in Florida as well. He serves in a variety of ministry capacities within his church community as a member of the media ministry, the youth ministry, the seed ministry, which does outreach to the unhoused population in the city of Chicago. He is the founder and executive director of Urban Awareness for Marine Conservation, UAMC, which focuses on exposing Black youth to the importance of protecting marine life, marine biology, and so much more. You all, I was able to assist this very special gentleman and a couple of his youth participants during what is called a coastal cleanup at the 63rd Street Beach some time ago. And it was such a great treat to see their passion. So I want you all to help me welcome my husband, Carlton Henderson, to the Legacy Lab. If I had some like that sound effect where you do the hand claps, I will play that right now. But I don't have that. But Carlton, thank you for joining me. Oh, there we go. There we go. um, I love that. Thank you, Wanda. You're the bomb.com. So love, hey love, I want you to do this for me. I want you to share a little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to start urban awareness for marine conservation. Before you do that, though, y'all, if I know some of you are listening, it's a podcast, so it's all about the audio. But look, if you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook Live, then you see these nice little blue shirts that we have. He always makes sure I have one. So it has my name on it. Then it has the logo for Urban Awareness Marine Conservation. I think this is always my hint and my clue that I'm a part of the team. So when there's some work to be done, I'm going to have to roll up my sleeves as well. But I wanted to point out, I always try to make sure I have on some t-shirt that is representative of something of Black excellence. And so today, that Black excellence is urban awareness for marine conservation. So Carlton, tell the people a
Yes.
little bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to start UAMC.
First of all, I'm honored to be here. I thank everyone for you and Wanda and this podcast for being here. It's been an honor, and glory to God. My background is simple. Like she gave the outstanding already about my background, but how UAMC started really is at the age of 5. And from there, my mom took me to the Shed Aquarium. And from there, I fell in love with marine science. I did go to school for microbiology for several years. Went to Hill Washington and some other universities. Didn't get my degree, but I did go to the military. But with urban awareness, marine conservation, it's always been a vision inside me that God put inside of me. Um, Finally got to it at the age of 40 when I really got focused on doing that. It was embedded in me, and I tried to leave it, but I couldn't. So I just gave in and let God take over. Um, I started at Howe School of Excellence. I took some children to the Shed Aquarium. Then I met this beautiful young lady named Stephanie Miller,
Oh, that's me.
and she encouraged me to do more. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea how to organize it. I just let God take over, and God did His work. God put a purpose in me to fulfill His vision. Then I came up with the name. I didn't even have a name at the time, and God put it in my heart. Called it Urban Awareness for Marine Conservation. And my goal was to get more African American, more brown young students involved in marine conservation because it's not a lot of us in that field, or a lot of our children don't even know about marine conservation or environmental racism or environmental justice. And so God put it in my heart to continue to do this. And so I started at McNair, and I got a few students to help me do coastal cleanups with the Shed Aquarium. And we've been doing it for 6 years. After that, I became a partnership with the Shed Aquarium, started doing things with them and some of the young people I have doing in my organization. We went to Washington, D.C. Another student of mine named Jakira Fentry. They paid for the full thing. It was about environmental racism and environmental justice. It was a experience to be there because we got to go to the Washington D.C. to see how things work, how politics work, and it was a great experience. But God is an awesome God because to continue to do these things, not knowing what to do, but to be obedient to God. And He has been so awesome to have me to continue doing these things and have people to support. Um, we are continue to do things next year. We're already planning to do more things with urban awareness for marine conservation. The young lady named Jakira, she will be doing an internship next year, a paid internship. And I just want to get more of our young men and our young ladies involved in this type of ev- um, environment to help them widen their horizons and to be more involved in conservation, being more stewards of our earth that God has blessed us with. So it has been a great journey, and I'm thrilled that things are getting better. A lot of things I don't say too much until God tells me to reveal it, and I'm going to continue to do this until God allows me to give it to a younger person to take over.
That's good. You said so much. I'm gonna try to go back and I'm gonna try to do this quickly and
Okay.
then go. I got like a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure I get your thoughts on um it's men's health month and we
Hmm.
focus on men's mental health. So I wanna definitely make that connection. But you mentioned your mom taking you to the shed aquarium. So talking about exposure and planting the seed. Um and then you talked about you went on and you talked about partnerships. And so I'm gonna get into the partnerships, but I want you to talk a little bit about that seed being planted, because I remember you saying that your mom wanted you to do something else. Like you didn't you majored in education. Um
Hmm.
so although that marine biology was something that was a passion and you kind of felt it surfacing, it was really I've heard you talk passionately about that moment where you like felt you knew that that seed was planted because of what your mom was exposed you to, where she may have thought it was just a average trip to the shed, but it was so much more for you. So can you talk about that exposure and that seed that was planted? And then I also want you, for the people that may not know what marine conservation even is, can you touch on that as well?
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with a little bit about marine conservation. Is the preservation of our Great Lakes, our oceans, and our seas. Um, with the Great Lakes, it's a lot of devastation in our Great Lakes that people don't even know. Right now, we're focused on Lake Michigan. There's 11 million pounds of plastics that have been dumped in Lake Michigan every year. And what a lot of organizations do is try to get and companies and the government to have restrictions on plastic pollution, which the plastics turn into micro plastics, which the fish eat, which can come into us because we eat the fish. So that's what conservation is, just to take care of the oceans and learn more about biodiversities in Lake Michigan and the other Great Lakes and oceans. Um, the seed, when my mom planted the seed in me, I had no idea. I was 5 years old, and she took us to the shed aquarium, and it just hit me just to see those different species of fish and animals that lived in the ocean. It just touched me. She wanted me to go into education. I don't know what made her think I was good in education. I didn't even want to be around kids at the time. I was a kid myself. But she felt like I was a good teacher. She felt like I was very patient with people and children. This is when I got a little older. I was 12 years old when she told me I needed to be a teacher, because she said how I talk to people and befriended people. But we're hard headed at those ages. But it even though I didn't go into teaching, I found out myself being a teacher.
Mhm.
God has a way of turning things around. And by me being in marine conservation, I started teaching kids about marine conservation. That's how that came about. The Once a seed is planted, um, God gives it the nurturing to grow and into great things. And even though we may not see it grow or how it grows, but God is the farmer, and He is about His vision. And He puts us as the farmer to make sure that that vision is completed.
That's good. That's real good. Thank you. Thank you for
Mm.
that. Partnerships. You have a partnership with the Shed Aquarium, and you've been able to empower youth through fish clubs. I think that's so dope. And I've learned so much about fish, and I would hear you tell me like, you know, the fish, you got to treat the fish like it's like the dog, like it's you got to take that much care, that you would with your fish, with your pet fish, as you would with your pet dog. um and so I want you to talk a little bit about that partnership, because a lot of times we believe that we can arrive, or maybe we've arrived by ourselves, right? It's our degree, it's our this, it's our that, it's my this, it's my that. And we kind of downplay the importance of working together. And I'm going to say that as a Black community right now, if we don't know of a more urgent time that we need to unite, as in previous times, like the civil rights movement, that type of unity, and then times before. But there is so much of there's great significance of working together to achieve our goals. And so how important are partnerships for your organization? And you could talk about, that relationship that you've cultivated with the Shed Aquarium, which is a phenomenal partnership to have, as one of the leading aquariums across the nation, right? So, talk a little bit about how important partnerships are for your organization.
Partnerships are, it is very important. God always puts you in the right place at the right time, even when we think it's not. I just did the coastal cleanups by myself that day, and I talked to a young lady named Maggie who's in charge. She's uh, uh, a manager now, a director of coastal cleanups. So I was doing it. I just did it annually, and I started taking some children from the school I used to work at McNair, and they started doing coastal cleanups. Very loyal. We would do it every third Saturday of the month. And so one day, Maggie just said, why don't we be a partner? She said, the kids loved them. Evelyn and Christina, they loved how the kids responded, asked questions, did a great job. They just had a wonderful time. And so, meeting with them, and they were so open. It's just whatever I needed, they gave it to us. Free tickets, the tickets that really would be worth, if you went to the Shed Aquarium, be worth over $100. She would give me tickets galore for the children and their families. 4 tickets, 4 people can go on one ticket. And those are the things that God blesses you with, and so you can partnership. You can. He does things in an extraordinary way, because I didn't have the money to give the children to go to the Shed Aquarium, but God always put things into place, and He did it. The kids went for a whole year. We had tickets that lasted for 2 years for them to go. And just recently, I asked them. I said, "Look, some of the kids still want to go. Our tickets expired. No problem. Carlton, just go down there, give them your name. Your name is on the list. You all can go right up in there." That was it. And the most wonderful thing is my wife went with me. We had another meeting to get some more activities for the young people that's in UAMC. And so I mentioned the young lady, Jakara Fentry, and then about a week later, they offered her to go to Washington, D.C. to represent UAMC. Then a day later, they offered me to go, airfare free. Everything was free. It was God sent everything, transportation, hotel, everything was, they sponsored everything. And this is why I'm saying when God has a mission, a vision, he's going to supply. And I thank God that I am obedient so these children can get it's not even about me, it's doing God's mission. So I can get these young people to be more involved in sciences. You know, I love sports, I love football, I love those things, but our children, our ancestors were engineers. That's how America got built. Our people were engineers and scientists and all these things, but we need to continue to be that. We are great people, and I wanted my young people to know how powerful we are, how wonderful we are, and we are more than what we think we are. I try to empower them wherever they do and embrace them. And as being a black man, it's difficult to show love because that's not in our neighborhoods. You know, they think black men, we have a certain stereotype, but to be a mentor to young people is an honor, and it's not taken for granted.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love the fact that from one partnership, another one opened up. And you all, if you want more information, I will not end this without Carlton sharing how you can reach him and contact him. If you want to volunteer, if you want to sponsor, if you want to donate, you know, so many things could come out of this. I talked about previously, I was talking to Wanda, was talking about the stereotype of black people don't swim, right? And how you were a scuba diver and all these different
Mm-hmm.
things that kind of led up to this, right? So whether it was your mom
Mm-hmm.
taking you to the Shed
Mm-hmm.
Aquarium, or starting to scuba dive, and all these different things that led up to this moment, um and your faithfulness and your obedience, even in the midst of lack, right? And so you said God gives the provision. He's planted that seed, that vision in you, that purpose, but he's also going to equip you with whatever you need. And so that's the part that I love, because that partnership opened up another partnership. The Washington D.C. trip that you're talking about was this week on Capitol Hill. Of course, I don't know nothing about it. I'm not, following these things, but you were invited to Ocean Week. And
Mm-hmm.
so for those people that are in this field, I'm sure that that's a big deal to be invited on Capitol Hill, where you are able to converse with legislators around marine conservation, around environmental racism and environmental justice, because that's where the policy happens. That's where the laws are passed. And so that is very commendable. So I'm going to say shout out to you, shout out to Jakira, shout out to Maggie and Evelyn and all
Yeah.
those ladies, Christina from the Shed Aquarium, that saw
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
you,
Yeah.
something, and wanted to make sure
Mm.
they kind of locked arms with you and took you up another level. You want to mention somebody
Yeah,
else?
Mallory was very instrumental. She's a director in at the Shed Aquarium, and it's a young man named Elliot. He's in Upwell. Upwell also, they pay for airplane tickets. We also partnership with them also. I'm sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people embraced UAMC. To come out to Seattle, Washington to visit their aquariums, and the Georgia Aquarium, and Jakira was invited to go to Alaska, and what we talked about in Washington, D.C. was getting to make it more diverse. When I went scuba diving, I was the only pep in the salt shaker. I was the only
Mm-hmm.
black person on the boat, but God made me do that to show that we belong. We belong. and we work hard, extra hard to belong, and we are more than we should be there. We should be there. We should have more scuba divers and more people, and it's growing. I would love to have more young black men more involved in scuba diving and marine conservation. Because in my groups, I had more young ladies than young men. I only had two young men, and I had like 15 young ladies involved. So I'm looking forward to recruiting more young black men and young Hispanic young men and Asian whoever is in wants to get involved, is to make this it's not is to make it better. And hopefully one day I can pass the torch to a younger person who can help this grow. Just want to thank everybody who has participated and helped us grow. I have teachers like Mr. Pope. I have another school I'm at, Aldrich, Miss Gordon, Miss Horn. Those people have supported me in getting things done. Our children have built aquariums in school. We just built a 90-gallon aquarium at Aldrich Elementary School with youth guidance, Miss Badu, Miss Curry, Miss Cleveland, and others who have helped me, and helped the students create this aquarium.
That's good stuff. Good stuff. You're
Mhm.
talking you talking the talk. I'm gonna get into this thing. Cause we gonna get into the money, okay?
Uh,
I shared this morning on my Facebook page that I have a philanthropic heart, but my pockets are not aligned yet. Right? Like I want to give, I want to give, I want to do like I heard about Dr. Willie Wilson just passing out $100 bills and things. I have that type of heart where I just want to just give to everybody. Um and simply put, like I want to give scholarships to those that may not otherwise be able to have the money to go to college or a trade school. Um and when I say may not other, I'm not talking about the students with 4.0s and 4.5s and 5.0 GPAs.
mm,
I'm talking about the students that have 2.0s and 2.5s. They may have been that C student that, you know, they they still have the desire, but for whatever circumstances, life happened and they just didn't get those grades consistently, but they still want to go to college, right? They still want to go to trade school. Um I want to be able to even tithe larger amounts to my church. I said, I can't wait to tithe $100,000 to my church.
mhm,
I can't wait. And for those of y'all that know the math, we give 10%. So 10%, all right, of what will have me to donate $100,000. That's profound. Um, but I want to be able to give grants to organizations, nonprofit organizations like UAMC,
mhm,
or even be able to fund the things, that I do with Mommy and Me Ministries, right? To be able to just get things off the ground, right? But in order to do these things, Carlton, we need to build our economic strength within the Black community. I'm gonna always go back to that. So, from your perspective, how important is economic development in the Black community? Now we're shifting gears, but we're shifting gears because of this reason. And let me say thank you to those of you that are on Facebook. Thank you to those of you that are tuning in via Intellectual Radio YouTube, intellectualradio.com. You're tuned into the Legacy Lab, 60 minutes to Black financial freedom. And we're talking to Carlton Henderson, the founder and director of Urban Awareness for Marine Conservation. June is Men's Health Month. So I wanted to make sure we closed out the month with the phenomenal man that just so happened to live with me.
we're
He's my
ma-
husband. We're
yeah,
married.
we're gonna get that
You like
straight.
get that straight.
Better get
Get
that
that
straight.
straight for all the saints. For all the saints that's listening. For all the saints, like, ooh, they shacking up. No, 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 we not shacking. Thank you, sir, for clearing that up. But economic development in the Black community. Why is it Why is it so important, especially today?
It's oof, man. It's important because wow, it's the reason why it's important because of the things that we have to do to not just survive but to live. We living in a time of when people need more, not of luxury things, but of just eating food, housing, education, especially education. That's what I look at as important, that we have a president that's taking out the educational department. And when you have your own, you really don't even worry about things like that. If I look back on Tulsa, Oklahoma, they thrived on their own. They thrived on their own, and I hope and I pray we can get back into that. It's a mindset that we have. It seems like now that we have more technology, we lack the togetherness of what we used to have. To work together, to shop at each other's stores and that. But we got into the place of our economics was dependent on being integrated, and that was in my opinion, that was a downfall. We do need each other. We need community. We need to thrive in our communities and work with each other. My mother never was on welfare, and she was a single parent. I don't know how she did it, but she did it. But she needed a community. She needed help. You know, so we need help. Our single parents need help. Our children need help. Um, we can't get to the thing of gathering money if we're not mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and economically healthy. It's a mindset. It's a mindset, because we go to college, we get all these degrees, then we get all these loans to go to college, and then here we are stuck paying all these bills. And then a lot of times, our young people don't even go into the fields they went to college in. Our young black men, they took a lot of the trade schools. Now, I really hope that they get back into the trade schools, opening up more trade schools for our young black men, because our young black men back in the day, we used to call them alley mechanics, and they went to CVS and Simeon and those places, and they learned sometimes it was their side hustle, but they made money for their family. They knew what they had to do. Um, but today is you don't even hardly hear anymore about alley mechanics because of the cars now today. But just to get our young people, we need to teach them about finances when they're in kindergarten.
Mm.
We need to teach them about finances, about credit, about loans and how they work. We need to have classes in grammar school on how not to just, why are you spending $300 on shoes when I went to Ross and got some name brand shoes and got three of them for $60? How we feel that buying $300 gym shoes make us more important than a person who goes to Walmart and buys shoes. Why does that make you more important? And we look at the commercials and say, oh, if you buy this shoe, you'll buy these $300 shoes, or buy this $100,000 car. You up there. You up there. You so important. But it's not that, because a lot of rich people don't even have Michael Jordan shoes. If they do get them, they get them for free because they know Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan don't have to pay all that money to go into restaurants. They use his name. He doesn't even have a tab. So what I'm saying is we have to be more smart. We have more people waiting in Foot Locker getting his shoes than parents going to see about their students, about their children in school. We don't see parents lined up in schools to still invest in their
You talking about report
education.
card pickup day?
Report
Are
card
you
pickup
saying
day.
the line to get the gym shoes is longer than
Longer
the
than
report card pickup line? That's what you're saying?
yes, it's more longer than the and we have our priorities. And don't think I wasn't. I was like that too. What made me change, what made me think is, I'm a shortcut, and I was in that mindset. My wife gets on me all the time, and I love her about it. Sometimes she be putting me in a headlock, but one day, um, Marshall Fields, if anybody know, back in the day, we used to sell Coca-Cola, the shirts, the pants, all this stuff. So me and my best friend Warren, I got the Coca-Cola t-shirts and everything. Man, I was like, thought, and my grandfather said, "Boy, you looking sharp." I was like, "Yeah, I was bragging." He said, "Coca-Cola's so happy that you advertising for them for free and you paying them to advertise for their product." And it hit me. It hit me saying I paid, see, that was a lot of money back then, $100 for an outfit for Coca-Cola. I paid them and I'm advertising for them. And that he had me thinking. And my mother said, if you want a name brand outfit, put your own name on there. She said, my mother was a very creative woman. But it taught me a lot. And so God always puts us in a place to think. And God is a CEO of wealth. And he wants us to have not just physical wealth or material, but spiritual wealth. Because when we have spiritual wealth, we can grow into physical wealth. It's our mindset. And I'm at this age where I'm just now learning that, and it's not easy to get out of that practice of just spending, and not saving. And now we're in a day and times that it's hard for us to even save $10 to sacrifice because some of the things we want to have or do. And I know we want to have nice things, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, but we have to be intentional on where our money is going, and who is going to. We have all these blackouts with McDonald's and Target and all of this. Well, if we had our own, like Tulsa, we wouldn't even be worried about Target or McDonald's or anything because we have it. That money will be going in our community more than $1 doesn't even go in our community even twice. So imagine if that dollar went in our community at least 5 times what we can do and provide jobs for our own youth. So this is where I'm at with that.
That's real good. And you're absolutely right. I know in my 20s, I was definitely hypnotized by appearances, is what I say. I wanted to have the Chanel shades, the Dior shirt, all the things, the Fendi bag. Um, and it definitely has to do with, like you said, if you're not trained up to be financially literate, if you're not trained up to understand that your self-worth is not tied to a brand, and that does happen during the primary, the tender ages, during elementary school ages. If you're not trained up in that way, then we're just perpetuating, and so if the young people are that way today, it's because the generation before them dropped the ball. And so that's what we really have to understand, is that once we now understand the importance of economic development, the importance of building Black wealth, then it's now important. We have to now be good stewards of that, right? We have to now make sure we're training up the next generation in that same manner. And so as we wrap up Men's Health Month and think about that mental health, and you said something, and you said this when you called in, and I heard I feel like I heard Dr. Umar mention this last night on the radio. I think he was on WVON, because I don't know if he's here in Chicago or doing something. Um, but that segregation, that integration piece, and how it's hindered us. And I'm gonna come back to that. But love during May and June, the focus was on intersectionality of money and mental health. And I brought up some statistics. It said um 66% of African Americans say that they worry about money most or all the time. And with Black men often bearing that expectation of being providers without the generational support. And when I say generational support, and this is documented data, this isn't just some number I'm pulling out of the air. When I say without the generational support, I mean you didn't have anybody to teach you what to do with the like you said, you talked about like an alley mechanic, that being a side gig. So then, well, what do I then do with this money from my side gig? How do I put myself in a position where I'm creating cash flow? Where because money is like energy, you can attract it, right? Or you can repel it. And so once you get that, and that's a mindset shift, like you're saying, once you get these basic principles and you position yourselves in businesses and in opportunities that can help you create this perpetual cash flow, now you're up to something, right? It's really quite simple. It's like, why am I wearing Dior and Chanel when I don't have Dior and Chanel money? Period. That's just it seems very simple, right? But if your mindset says, if I put this on, then I'm better. If I put this on, then I'm worthy. You have insufficient funds walking around looking like $1 million. And so that is definitely a mindset shift. And so when we start to talk about self-awareness, things like that, now we're digging into this mental health piece. Now we're talking about stress and anxiety, and it says 66%. That's the statistic. And then there's another statistic. It says only 26% of Black men who need mental health care actually receive it. And so I'm going to ask you, just for like 60 seconds, if you could touch on the importance of being good stewards over the thing, that financial piece that God is blessing us with. Like, for any young person, young adult, anybody, even older people that might be listening, that still overspend because they feel like, well, I have to eat here, I have to drink this, I have to wear this in order to be, even people that are going to church. I have to look this way. I have to wear this hat. I have to wear this color or whatever. I don't know what their financial situation is. They might be going broke to wear the Women's Day colors. We don't know, right? But I mean, what, why is that? And why is money and mental health, making sure those two things are in good standing, if you will? Why is that so important in our community?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is you know, I think I well, I don't want to. I think it goes back to belong. A lot of people might disagree with this, but when the things that we do is is not really for us. It's for others to be accepted. It's for us to be accepted. I had a friend in the military, and he never bought name brand stuff, and the kids used to tease him. But he had the most courage because he knew he was one of the people. Today he's doing much better. He saved all that money, bought him a home for his children, got married, bought his son a home. Um, his son got good credit. He made sure he had good credit. He wasn't concerned about what other people felt that he had to spend to make them feel good. We do that. I did that. I did that. I want to, you see the people with the nice cars and doing this but we don't even know their financial situation. My grandfather said you can see a Rolls Royce in a trailer house,
Mm.
and the Rolls Royce costs more than the house. And he said that's something we have to think about as a Black people. He, one thing I know, integration made us segregated in our own community. When we integrated, when we integrated our money and we segregated our money. We integrated our money with them, and our money becomes segregated in our communities. Um, if in the business that we have, black business, they don't have no good customer service, but we can go to the same white company and they follow us through the stores, thinking we gonna steal, but we still go there. So it's a mindset that we have in this country. Um, we've learned to just survive instead of live. We have, this country is dysfunctional, to be honest. The master's dysfunctional, and he took on his dysfunction on us. And so when you have that mentality, this is the end result of it. My mother, before she passed away, she said, I feel so bad. I sold this house that I should have left it to you all. And that's a lot of us in our community. When we have other cultures that teach their children before they're even born how to make money, it gives them a head start. See, we was in our community. If you work for the post office, education, and those things, and good health benefits, we're doing good.
Good
But
benefits.
it didn't help us, because once they started cutting them jobs, we was the first one to be let go. And so here we are, especially as black men. Black men are, oh my. As a black, I'm going through my experience. It's been difficult. It's been a trial. It's been days that I have cried, and didn't want to show the tears, but they came. And not knowing when I'm gonna pay this next bill, the pressures of that, trying to be a good father when sometimes they don't see you as a good father. Just struggling, just struggling, and don't know who to talk to. Young man yesterday, he was in church. He said, "Why the church is always asking for money?" He said, "I don't have $50 to pay this." And so we have to understand that is like money, 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 and money is a tool. It's a tool, but we make it so like it's the God. But our children think it's nothing wrong with money. Is money is a tool. It's to help us. Please believe that we need money today. We do. We need money to live. But it's like every time he said he turned around, the church was asking for money. And here's a young black man. And so I said, well, ask him where the money's going. He didn't want to do that. So I asked the church, where's the money going to? The $100. And he said, thank you. They explained it to him. But it puts you in a precarious position. He said, I don't have this type of money to give to the church. And so I said, well, can we have people just pay $25 if they don't have it, whatever he can pay? They was like, yeah, yeah. So he felt better about that. So is that we have to create, it has to start at home. It has to start in the educational system, how our children can create money and build a legacy for their family, especially the black men. How can we be leaders in our homes and be providers and promoters and protectors in our home, and not worry about so much? Because when we worry about money, it's devastating. Is hard to see when your children say, "Daddy, can I have this?" Or your wife is saying, "Baby, the bills, we got $1,000 worth of bills, and you come home with 600." The pressure. So here, this man goes out and have two jobs, 16 hours a day, and he doesn't have time to spend time with his children or his wife because he has to make ends meet. It's a lot. It's a lot. His child wants to go to college, and he wants to provide, but now he or she has to get a loan, and he wants her to go to college or out of state or whatever. Those things are very devastating, even for single moms out there who love their children and want the best for them, and they're working 16 hours a day, and the kids are raising themselves. These are the realistic things that goes on in our community. But my wife, bless her heart, she talks about it. She wants to uplift the community. She wants to be a what you call it, person that gives out money, a philanthropist,
Yes,
right?
sir. That's it.
That's it. So, and a lot of us want to do that. I think a lot of Black people want to help us. It's just that how do we do it?
And right there, I'm gonna cut you off, and I'm gonna say, I'm gonna do a couple of things because our time is running short. For the person that has questions about the church and tithes and offerings, always go back to the Word of God. There is a reason why we tithe. There is a reason why we give offerings, and we talked about that a little bit earlier on the way here. When you believe in the sowing and reaping principle, you understand that what I sow, I will reap. You have the faith and the trust in God. It's spiritual first. Don't just take man out of the equation, because men will have you giving to things that you, like you see, may not even know. And
Mhm.
so there has never been a time where I did not sow something, sow a seed, a financial seed, and didn't reap
Mhm.
more. And so make sure you are going to the Word of God as it relates to that. And definitely always ask questions. And then this is the flip side of that. If it makes you uncomfortable to not have, then that ball goes back into your court. Because until you change, nothing will change. It has to get to the point where you're so tired of your financial situation, you're so tired of being sick and tired and stressed out and living paycheck to paycheck, that you decide to make a change. In my Planet Marketing business, the founder often says, we have A and B students, and then we're C and D parents. You have an A and B student, you have an A and B child, and you are a C or D parent. What that means is that there are some things that we should be able to do. There are some things that we should be able to provide. Like, it's us. We're the teachers. We have to be good stewards over what God has placed in our care, and that's even the people. So if you come to a road, a crossroad where you feel, and I'm talking to the listeners, where you feel like you are unable to take care of your bills, to take care of your family, to pay your child's tuition, to, get them gifts during Christmas. Those are valid concerns, and you shouldn't have to become stressed or anxious or depressed about it, right? You have to understand that God is the source and He owns everything, right? That poverty is man made. The opportunities are vast out here. So you have to be willing to step out and get it done. And that's just where I'm gonna leave it. Um I want to say again that God didn't create us to just work and pay bills. He didn't create us to do that. So if you are looking for an opportunity, if you are looking for a way to be financially free, maybe you're like me and you want to be able to give to charitable organizations, whether it's your church or whether it's UAMC, whether it's the NAACP, whether it's the Negro College Fund, whatever it is. The money is the tool, but we need that to take care of the things and the people that mean everything to us. If not, we are creating this perpetual cycle where there's lack and there's poverty and then there's stress and then there's depression. So definitely do something about it. You have the power because you have the resources, and especially if you're plugged into the source, which is God, you have everything you need. If you are looking for an opportunity to build wealth or to become financially free, let me help you with that. You can definitely call or text me at 708-658-4735. Again, that's 708-658-4735. Or you can email me at kslovestorytravel@gmail.com. Carlton, love, I'm going to say thank you so much for being here, for sharing all that you poured out. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about UAMC, they want to volunteer, they want to give, they want to get involved? how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, you can get in touch with me. We're still building our website, but you can get in touch with me. Call me at 773-956-2269, or you can email me at carltonelps1@gmail.com. carltonelps1@gmail.com. You,
Awesome. You got another contact?
no, I
What
don't.
about Facebook? How can they
Oh,
follow you on
Facebook. Yeah,
Facebook?
you
And
can
it's
follow me on Facebook. I'm at the age my students are teaching me how to get that. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook also. It's Carlton Henderson, and I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not on there a lot. You have to excuse me. I'm still learning. But Facebook, you can definitely get me on Facebook.
awesome. And again, if you all, you can call or text me too, and I'll get you to the UAMC man. So again, that's 708-658-4735. Thank you so much for tuning into the Legacy Lab. Be blessed. Come back, listen again next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be blessed and just be kind.